Hello everyone, warm welcome to Testbook Super Coaching. My name is Madhav Sir. I welcome you all in a very important session, which is weekly current affairs for finance. As you all know that in the RBI, NABARD, SEBI and all other regulatory body exams, current affairs are going to play a really very important role, and that too finance current affairs are very important. So we at Testbook taken up a new initiative where we will be discussing the weekly finance current affairs on regular basis, and this class will be scheduled every week on Tuesday at 6 p.m. So what I do is I take up all the important news related to the financial world in the past 1 week and I present it to you on Tuesday at 6 p.m. and tomorrow I will be coming up with RBI updates of the last 1 week, same time, that is 6 p.m. So let's begin the discussion, guys, without any further delay. So let's start with the discussion. Before I start with the discussion, as I have mentioned, that at 6 p.m. we provide you with the weekly current affairs. On Monday, we have weekly PIB analysis. Then on Tuesday and Wednesday, we have finance and RBI. On Thursday, Friday, we have government schemes and ESI. And on Saturday, we have the important reports. So this is going to be a really very important session for everyone, those who are preparing for different regulatory body exams. For that matter, if you're preparing for the bank exams also, then also this session is going to be really very important. So before I start the discussion, I would request you, please share the link of this session with your friends so that more and more students are aware that yes, this session is live and we can begin the discussion without any further delay. So let's get started, guys, with the first news of the day. But before I start with the first news, this is the Telegram channel from where you can download the PDF which I'm going to discuss today. You can scan the code or use the handle, that is @Madhav Arora, and Economics by Madhav Arora Telegram channel will appear where you can download the PDF for this as well as my all other sessions. Let's start with the first news of the day. Guys, I hope you all are very well aware that in banking exams as well as in the regulatory body exams, many questions are asked related to the GDP growth estimates. So the same we have for today. So today we have southern states lead in GDP contribution. You might have witnessed that the questions are asked related to the GDP growth estimates of India, but as we know that GDP is important, then today I have a news related to the contribution made by Indian states in the Indian GDP. But before that, if you are not aware what is GDP, so GDP stands for gross domestic product. What is gross domestic product? Then I would say gross domestic product is the sum of value of final goods and services which is produced within the geographical area, within the boundaries of the country. That means all the services which are provided, all the goods which are produced within the geographical area of this nation, within the geographical area of the nation, that is basically termed as what? So that is basically termed as GDP. Now remember one thing, so this GDP of the nation is calculated and obviously it will be the sum of GDP of individual states. So GDP of Gujarat, GDP of Maharashtra, GDP of Haryana, Punjab, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. So if we add the states' GDPs, the total will give us the GDP of the country. The total will give us the GDP of the country. Now the question is, in the total GDP of the nation, the maximum contribution or the highest contribution is done by the southern states. That is the news I have for you all. So in the GDP calculation of India, the highest contribution is done by the southern states. So in this particular session, in this particular news, you will be coming across with many important facts and figures which you need to note down because direct questions can be asked in the upcoming examination. So please pay attention. First of all, sir, the data which you are going to share, this data has been presented where? So the answer to that particular question is, sir, a recent report presented by Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. So the report presented by the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister shows that there is a huge difference between the state GDPs, especially if we talk about the north and southern states. The report shows that some states, especially in the south, they are growing very quickly, and other states like West Bengal are seeing a decline in their economic performance. So don't take it as a political agenda that they have marked West Bengal separately because we don't have the NDA government in West Bengal. That is not the case. Actually, they have given the data which shows that West Bengal is not doing well. West Bengal is not performing well in terms of its economic growth, in terms of its economic development. So if I start with the southern states, as they say that if we talk about before 1990, the southern states such as Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu, they contributed pretty less. They contributed pretty less in the economic output. So after the economic reforms which were made in 1991, after that the contribution of southern states has increased. But if I say before 1990, these states were not contributing a lot in terms of GDP of the country. In 1991, please pay attention, in 1991, these states, they had below average incomes. These states, they had below average income, but by 2024, they had contributed 30% of India's GDP. So if a question is asked, the question could be, name the southern states, or which all states are included, which all states are included and they are responsible for 30% of GDP contribution. Then I would say we have Karnataka, then we have Kerala, we have Andhra Pradesh, we have Telangana, and we have Tamil Nadu. So these are the 5 states which are responsible for the 30% of the India's GDP contribution. What does this mean? This means if the GDP of India is 100, let's say if the GDP of the country is 100 rupees, out of 100 rupees, 30 rupees of GDP comes alone from the southern states that are mentioned on the screen. Please remember the names: Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Andhra Pradesh. These 5 states, they collectively contribute 30% in the India's GDP. Moving on to the next point, the next important state which I would like to highlight over here is Maharashtra. But before that, if you are writing a descriptive answer, then there could be a situation where you are talking about the economic growth as well as the economic development in the southern states. And if someone asks you, or if you want to write down what are the key drivers, responsible for the growth of GDP contribution by these southern states, then the answer is, so key drivers of this growth include Karnataka's booming tech industry. So why Karnataka has increased its contribution? Because of the growing tech industry, especially Bengaluru, as we all know. Then Tamil Nadu's industrial development. Telangana also growing quickly since it has made separate, or since it has came into existence in 2014. So remember, technology in terms of Karnataka as well as industrial development in terms of Tamil Nadu are the reasons which has resulted in the increase in GDP of these states, which has resultant increase in their contribution in the India's GDP. Moving on to the next point. In contrast to these states, if I talk about West Bengal, before I jump to Maharashtra, sir, in contrast to this, West Bengal was one of the leading states in the past, but it has declined. In early 1960s, the state contribution was 10.5%. The only contribution, I would say, the only state contributed 10.5% in the India's GDP, but now its contribution has halved to 5.6%. Its contribution has halved to 5.6%. So remember, in early 1960s, West Bengal GDP was 10.5% of the India's GDP, but now it has dropped down to 5.6%. So this is very important point to note down, as well as the per capita income as well as the average per capita income has also fallen down. Earlier, West Bengal was having 127.5% of the national average per capita income, but now their national average per capita income is 83.7%, which is pretty below. Now, moving on to the next point. The next point after West Bengal is, if I talk about Punjab and Haryana, Punjab has benefited, or Punjab's GDP has increased since Green Revolution. And because of the Green Revolution, we have witnessed the immense growth in the Punjab GDP, but that was in early 1960s. But since 1991, in India, there is an industrial development, but Punjab economy is still dependent on the agriculture output. And we know that primary goods, their value is less, and that is the reason its contribution in the GDP is pretty less, and because of which Punjab has witnessed slowdown, or Punjab's contribution in the nation's GDP has decreased. So its per capita income dropped from 169% of the national average to just 106%. But on the other side, if I talk about the neighboring state, that is Haryana, it has done much better, because now the average income in Haryana, or average per capita income in Haryana, is 176%, more than 1.5% of the national average income. Remember this point. Okay, now let's move on to the next point. The next point is very important. You have to note it down. Why you have to note it down? The reason is, if someone asks you, name the most important economic state of the country, the most important state in terms of economic activities in India is none other than Maharashtra. So Maharashtra is India's most important economic state, and it contributes over 15 to 13.3%. So if I talk about the contribution, earlier its contribution was 15%, but still its contribution is pretty good. And Maharashtra is alone contributing 13.3% in the India's GDP. Is alone contributing 13.3% in the India's GDP. If someone asks you, name the state which is the highest collector of GST, then what will be your answer? If someone asks you, name the state which is the highest collector of GST, then also your answer will be the same. That is what? So that is Maharashtra. Maharashtra is the highest collector of GST as well. Moving on to the next point, although its per capita income is now 150% of the national average income, it has dropped out of the top 5 states per in terms of per individual national income. Now, here comes a question for you. The question says, please name, please name the states, please name the top 5 states of the country in terms of their national income. In terms of their national income, can you give me the answer? If I talk about per capita income, name the top 5 states of India. Name the top 5 states of India on the basis of per capita income. Anyone? Any idea? Any guesses? Any idea? Any guesses? I'm still waiting for your answers. Anyone can give me the answer for this question? No idea, guys? No idea? Shall I wait for your reply? No idea? Okay, I'm getting the answer, sir. It's Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Haryana. Okay. You have missed one very important state, that is Sikkim. Please check it once. I'm waiting. Please check it once. What is the per capita? What is the per capita income of Sikkim? What is the per capita income of Sikkim state? The moment you'll check, you'll have a shock, and it's highest, it's on the first rank. Obviously in 2023, when the data was presented on PIB, in that Sikkim data was not available, but for the previous year data was written, which is more than 4 lakh. But as per the other organizations, they have calculated the data for Sikkim that is greater than 5 lakh, which means the per capita income in Sikkim is more than 5 lakh rupees. So it's on the first rank. So I would say, as per the official data, we can say that Sikkim can be the correct answer. Sikkim can be the correct answer, but previously the data was, when the data was shared, Sikkim was not included at that time. Then in that particular case, second rank goes to Goa. Second rank goes to Goa. And if you talk about the major states, then I would say Telangana is on the first rank in terms of major states. Telangana is on the first rank in terms of major states. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear now? Will you remember this? This data is important. Will you remember this? This data is really very important. Question can be asked in the examination. Chalo ji, let's move ahead. If I talk about some of the challenges, then I would say the report has also highlighted the difficulties which are faced by states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Uttar Pradesh contribution to the economy has decreased from 14% in 1960 to 9.5% today. Obviously, Uttar Pradesh is trying its level best to reach to the earlier level, and yes, in the near future it is expected that Uttar Pradesh will do pretty well because of the immense industrial development in the state, unlike Punjab or unlike West Bengal. And if I talk about Bihar, Bihar contribute only 4.3% of the national economy, and it falls behind, while Odisha has shown some improvement, but still they are some of the poor states of the country. Is it clear now? Is it clear? I hope you will remember this data. I hope you are going to remember this data. It is absolutely clear to everyone. Shall we move ahead? Okay, let's move on to the next news. The second news I have is that is related to the appointment. So Federal Bank, which is a private bank of the country, and I don't know how many of you are aware of this, many of the private banks like ICICI, SDFC, Axis Bank, Yes Bank, IndusInd Bank, these banks, they were formed after the reforms of 1991, after Narsimhan Committee recommendations in 1991 and 1998. And before that, many of the private banks, they were nationalized back in 1969 and 1980. But if you check, Federal Bank was set up before independence as a private bank, and still it is existing as a private bank of the country. Do you know this? Do you have any idea on this particular data that Federal Bank, if I talk about Federal Bank, so Federal Bank was set up before independence, and it is still operating. It is still operating as a private bank of the country. That means it was not nationalized back in 1980 or back in 1969. If I talk about the headquarter of Federal Bank, any idea, guys? Where is the headquarter of Federal Bank? Any idea? Where is the headquarter of Federal Bank? The headquarter of Federal Bank is in Kochi, Kerala. Remember this as well. Now, what is the news? So the news is new CEO is appointed. Of which bank? Sir, of Federal Bank. And what is his name? Sir, his name is KVS. His name is KVS Maninan. If I talk about KVS Maninan, KVS Maninan has officially taken the charge as the Managing Director and CEO of Federal Bank, effective from today, no, to yesterday, that is 23rd September 2024. He has replaced whom? Sir, he has replaced S. Srinivasan. S. Srinivasan was the CEO of Federal Bank since 2010. So he was serving as the CEO since 2010, and now I would say, retired successfully, and now he has been replaced by KVS. And KVS, he is holding more than 25 years of banking experience, and he was the key driver of Kotak Mahindra Finances to be achieving a tag of bank from an NBFC. He was one of the important element in that particular journey. So remember the name. KVS Maninan is appointed as the CEO of Federal Bank, and he has replaced S. Srinivasan, who was the CEO since 2010. If I talk about his background, as we all know, engineers are everywhere. So he is also an electrical engineer from IIT BHU, that is IIT Varanasi, and he holds postgraduate degree in financial management from Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies, and he has also qualified cost and works accountant, and right now he has been appointed as the CEO of one of the private sector bank of the country, Federal Bank, which was set up in 1931 with its headquarters in Kochi, Kerala. Remember that. Chalo. Let's move on to the next news of the day. The next news talks about a new initiative which has been taken by Yes Bank and Paisabazaar. So Yes Bank and Paisabazaar, they both have come together in order to present or in order to launch a co-branded instrument or a co-branded banking instrument, I would say, and the name is credit card. And what is this credit card named? So it is known as Paisa Save Cashback Credit Card. So it is basically Yes Bank and Paisabazaar. They have come together. And they have launched a co-branded. Co-branded means both the brands will be mentioned on the card itself. One is your Yes Bank and the other one is Paisabazaar. And this card has been named as Paisa Save. As the name suggests, this card will come up, or this card has been presented with n number of benefits which will help the customers to enjoy n number of transactions with n number of benefits. I'll discuss those benefits with you, but before that, remember this news. Paisabazaar, which is India's online marketplace for customer credit and free credit score platform where you can check your credit score without any fees, has partnered with Yes Bank, which is the 6th largest private sector bank, to unveil co-branded credit card. The name is Yes Bank Paisabazaar Paisa Save Credit Card. Yes Bank Paisabazaar Paisa Save Credit Card. Remember this. Now, if I talk about its features, before that, if I talk about the purpose, it is designed to reward frequent shoppers by offering substantial cashback on everyday purchase, both online and offline. So what is the purpose? So the purpose is very simple: to attract those customers who are, I would say, frequent buyers, frequent shoppers, and if they are shopping, they will be getting the cashback if they are going to use the given card. So in this particular thing, features include, you will get cashback that is up to 3%. You will get the benefits on all type of or on all modes of shopping, that could be online or offline, making payment system efficient with the help of credit card, and you will enjoy the fuel waiver. That means if you are using this card to get your fuel tanks filled, then in that particular case, you will be enjoying a waiver, you will enjoying a benefit. Moving on to the next part. The next is very important. This data can be asked in the examination directly as an objective question, or it can be asked in the form of, or you can use this data in the descriptive question. The question is, banks and financial institutes to invest 32.5 trillion rupees in renewable energy by 2030. 32.5 trillion. So if I'm not wrong, it is 32.5 10 to the power trillion. Million is 6, billion is 9, trillion is 12. Say yes or no, guys. Say yes or no. Trillion is 10 to the power 12, na? Trillion is 10 to the power 12. Say yes or no. If yes, then if I take this as 3 to 5, 10 to the power 11. If I take 4 zeros, it will be 325 0000 crore. So that means 32 lakh 50,000 crores are going to be invested by banks and financial institutes in the renewable energy by 2030. In the renewable energy by 2030. Please check if I have not made any mistake in terms of trillion, million, billion calculations, because million is 10 to the power 6, billion will be 10 to the power 9, trillion will be 10 to the power 12. Okay. Now let's read out this particular news, what this news says. If we talk about this particular news, the news says at the 4th Renewable Invest Summit. So recently this news is related to what? So this news is related to Renewable Energy Invest Summit. This was the 4th edition. This was the 4th edition. This was the 4th edition of Renewable Energy Invest Summit, and this summit was hosted by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Along with Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, we have CII, that is Confederation of Indian Industry, the leading renewable energy developers, manufacturers, companies, banks, and many more. They have pledged to close around $386 billion or 32.45 trillion rupees will be invested in renewable energy projects by 2030. So India aims to build 500 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030, and the commitment from the solar power industry, it has reached to 570 gigawatts. If I talk about the leading players in this particular race, if we talk about the leading player in this particular race is Reliance Industries, to have 100 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030, NTPC 41.3 gigawatts, Renew 40 gigawatts and plan for 6 gigawatt of power cell and module manufacturing, Adani New Industries Limited 3.9 gigawatts of wind turbine manufacturing, and Suzlon Energy 2.8 gigawatts of wind turbine manufacturing. So this is the contributors who are going to invest and come up with this value of renewable energy capacity by 2030. Last point which you need to remember over here is, sir, how banks and financial institutes are involved. So remember, banks and financial institutions committed 24.8 trillion for financing renewable energy projects, and with REC leading 6 trillion. What is REC? What is this REC? Have you read this term earlier? Have you ever heard this term REC? What is this REC? Any idea, guys? REC Limited, it's a company. Can you name this company? Sir, it was earlier known as Rural Electrification Corporation Limited. Now it is known as REC Limited. So it is an organization, we can say that, which is operating in the power finance sector, and it is the holding company with the ownership with the Ministry of Power, and this company is responsible to provide funding for the electrification project. So REC leading alone 6 trillion rupees, and all the banks and financial institutes collectively 24.8 trillion rupees. IREDA has committed 5 trillion, Power Finance Corporation 3 trillion rupees, and if I talk about the highest commitments among the banks, SBI committed 5 trillion and PNB committed 79,000 crore rupees as per the latest data. So this part is very important for objective, and this part is important for the subjective answers as well. So remember that India is trying its level best. India is trying its level best to achieve its target related to the renewable energy, and these are the commitments which have been made recently. If I talk about the state participation in this summit, we included Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister was present, Goa Chief Minister was present, Telangana Deputy Chief Minister was present, and Andhra Pradesh aims for 60 gigawatt renewable energy capacity by 2030 and 1.5 MMTPA green hydrogen production as well. So Andhra Pradesh has also set the target of 60 gigawatts as per the latest meeting. India's solar capacity, it has increased 33 times since 2014, with the country already reaching 200 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity, aiming for 500 gigawatts by 2030. This is a part of India's global commitment. India has already made the same commitment of reaching to the renewable energy capacity of 500 gigawatts by 2030, and as per the latest data, as per this latest announcement, India will achieve its target, in which banks and financial institutes collectively they are going to invest 32.45 trillion rupees, or 386 billion dollars. $386 billion. This data is important, that can be asked in the examination. Now, if you are preparing for RBI Grade B examination and if you want to clear the next year's examination, that is RBI Grade B 2025, then Testbook presents you RBI Grade B 2025 Lakshya Batch, where you will be receiving structured study plan along with live classes, concise and up-to-date study material with practice questions, and mock test, which gives you the actual exam feeling before you attempt the examination. And that is all available in this course itself. I would say it's a one-stop solution for everyone. Use the code Madhav in order to enjoy maximum discount on this particular course. So that will be all from my side. Today at 7 p.m. I will be discussing with you questions based on finance, which will help you in answering your phase 2 examination, which is scheduled on 19th of October 2024. Thank you so much, guys. We'll catch you in the next session. Till then, keep loving, keep sharing, and keep liking this session, as well as our channel and the other videos on the channel itself. Thank you so much. Good luck. God bless you all.